This question comes from Max, who asks, what would happen if we built a battery the size of a planet?
Max, hold on to your electrons because this is about to get shockingly large. Batteries store energy, right? So imagine taking all the lithium, cobalt, and fancy electrode materials on Earth and then multiplying that by 1,000,000, maybe 1,000,000,000. Basically, we're talking about turning a planet into one giant glowing power bank. First, let's define planet-sized. Are we thinking Earth itself as a battery?
Or a new ball of metal and chemicals spinning in space? Either way, the scale is mind-boggling. A typical Tesla battery stores roughly 100 kilowatt hours. Earth, by volume, could hypothetically hold, well, a number so big it makes your head hurt. Let's call it 10 to the 50 joules of stored energy. Max, you just made your smartphone look like a potato battery. So what would happen if we actually tried to charge this thing? Standard power plants produce gigawatts, 1 billion watts. But to juice up a planetary battery, we need more power than the sun delivers to the entire Earth.
And that's if every electron decided to behave nicely. In reality, the charging currents alone would probably melt continents, ignite oceans, and generate magnetic storms that would fry every gadget within a light-year radius. Max, your charger would be a literal apocalypse.
Now let's assume somehow we safely charged it. Congrats! You now have a planetary battery storing more energy than the entire human civilization has ever consumed, by orders of magnitude. But here's the kicker. What happens if it starts to discharge? A small leak? Forget it. A single lamp of current from this battery would be equivalent to thousands of nuclear bombs detonating simultaneously. Your power outage would be permanent, along with half the planet. Let's break it down. Energy density. Chemical batteries are limited by the materials in them. Lithium-ion batteries have roughly 250 watt-hours per kilogram.
Earth's mass? 6 times 10 to the 24th kilograms. Even if we converted the entire planet into a perfect battery, Max, this is extreme sci-fi territory, the discharge could destroy the planet in milliseconds. Mountains would vaporize, oceans would boil, and the atmosphere? Well, let's just say you wouldn't need a flamethrower anymore.
What about stability? A battery this large would generate enormous magnetic fields as it charges and discharges. Those fields alone could flip the planet's poles, disrupt satellites, and give every migratory bird a really confusing morning commute. And don't even think about thermal management. Chemical reactions generate heat. A planet-sized battery? You'd basically have a slowly cooking Earth with molten core currents now competing with chemical currents. Max, it's like giving your microwave a nuclear upgrade and forgetting it's still in your kitchen.
And here's a fun thought. Connecting it to civilization. Even if we could somehow extract energy safely, how do you plug in your house? Running power lines across a planetary battery?
Forget it. Lightning bolts from thunderstorms would look like minor sparks. Every electric car charging session would risk vaporizing a suburb. Max, this isn't a new iPhone charger. It's a weaponized grid from the future. There's also the question of cosmic consequences. A fully charged, planet-sized battery would be a beacon in the electromagnetic spectrum.
Aliens observing us might mistake it for a pulsar, or worse, think we're signaling "don't come here." And gravitationally, packing reactive chemicals across planetary scales could destabilize the orbit itself. Tidal effects, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, all amplified by the stored energy trying to escape.
In short, Max, while the idea of storing infinite clean energy is tempting, the practical reality is catastrophic. Any attempt to build a planet-sized battery ends up being less about solving energy problems and more about turning the Earth into an unintentional superweapon. A safer approach? Stick with solar panels, wind turbines, and maybe a modest lithium-ion grid. Leave the planetary batteries to sci-fi writers.
So if you ever feel like you're running out of juice at home, remember, a planet-sized battery would solve your power problems and simultaneously obliterate your house, neighborhood, and probably your entire species. Max, your question just made our energy crisis look adorable.
Thanks for watching. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your next what-if scenario in the comments. Stay powered, stay safe, and remember, some ideas are best left on paper or in your imagination.